Hello again. Welcome to another weekly episode of Nature Chronicles with Samir. There are birds that capture attention with brilliant colors. There are birds that enchant with song. And then there are birds that dominate the sky simply through their presence. This morning in Munsiyari, one such giant appeared above the valley. At first glance, it seemed almost suspended in midair. Yet, every passing second, it was covering enormous distances. This is the Himalayan vulture, one of the largest flying birds on earth, with a wingspan that can exceed 3 meters and a body weighing up to 12 kilograms. It belongs to an elite group of birds that have mastered the art of flight while expending remarkably little energy. Notice how there is almost no wing movement. Instead of fighting the air, it works with it. Rising columns of warm air, known as thermals, become invisible elevators carrying the bird skyward. The vulture circles within these currents, gains height, and then glides effortlessly towards the next column of rising air. It is a strategy built on patience rather than speed. And one detail fascinated me throughout. Its attention never focused on the sky. The head remained angled downwards. Every circle appeared deliberate. Every turn seemed purposeful. What looked like aimless wandering was actually a highly efficient aerial survey. Vultures possess extraordinary eyesight and can detect signs of a carcass from astonishing distances. For nearly the entire time, this bird seemed to be studying the landscape below. Now, filming all this was not exactly easy. The distance was immense. The camera frequently struggled to maintain focus. I was confined to the balcony of my hotel. There was no tripod, very little room to maneuver, and the entire sequence was short-handled. Yet somehow none of that mattered. The sheer size and grace of the bird made it impossible to look away. And then another familiar character entered the story, a crow. Because apparently no large bird is permitted to pass through crow territory without first being thoroughly interrogated. And then, wait, wait a second, did you catch that? The vulture suddenly banks into a turn, and the crow appears to run straight into the tip of its wing. Let's have another look. Oh boy! The crow was so focused on shadowing the giant that it completely misjudged the turn. One moment, it is confidently pursuing its much larger neighbor. The next, it finds itself far closer than it probably intended. For a brief instant, it almost appears to lose both balance and momentum. Whether that was an accidental collision or the crow deliberately trying a little aerial intimidation, I'll leave that for you to decide. Personally, I suspect the crow discovered that confidence and precision are not always the same thing. Yet, there was not enough to discourage it. Meanwhile, the giant remained astonishingly calm. No retaliation, no panic, no aggression. Just the same measured glide, the same composure, the same quiet confidence. And then something extraordinary happened. The solitary giant was no longer alone. Another appeared, then another, and another. Soon, the skies seemed to be producing vultures from nowhere. One after another, they emerged from beyond the gates, circling, descending, rising, gliding. For a while, it felt as though the mountains themselves had begun releasing birds into the air. All of them appeared to be focused on the same destination somewhere below. The circles became tighter. The altitude gradually decreased. One by one, they drifted towards the valley. Somewhere beyond my view, there was likely a reward waiting. Perhaps a large carcass hidden among the slopes. Perhaps a meal substantial enough to attract an entire gathering. And this is where vultures perform one of nature's most important services. These birds are among the world's most efficient scavengers. They locate and consume dead animals before disease can spread through the landscape. In doing so, They help keep ecosystems healthy, recycle nutrients, and prevent countless potential outbreaks. What many people dismiss as unpleasant work is, in reality, one of nature's most essential cleaning services. Watching dozens of them converge towards a common objective felt less like chaos and more like a perfectly coordinated operation. At one point, it became difficult to know where to point the camera. Vultures were appearing from every direction. Some continued descending into the valley. Others seemed to inspect the scene before climbing once more on invisible currents of air. Without effort, without haste, without a single wasted movement. And then, just when I thought the spectacle was drawing to a close, one of the giants decided to offer a much closer encounter. Suddenly it appeared overhead, so close, in fact, that I had to zoom out rather than zoom in. That is not something one says very often in wildlife photography. For the first time during the entire observation, I witnessed something that had been almost completely absent until now. Wingbeats. Slow, powerful, deliberate. Not because the bird needed them, but because it chose to gather speed. And seeing that immense wingspan overhead truly puts its size into perspective. For nearly 15 minutes, I watched masters of efficient flight ride invisible circles across the Himalayan sky. No rush, no wasted effort, no unnecessary movement, just patience, precision, purpose. People often overlook vultures because they lack the glamour of eagles or the dazzling color of pheasants. Yet, standing there in Munsiyari, watching giant shadows drift across the valley, I found myself thinking differently. Sometimes, the most remarkable birds are not the hunters, they are the cleaners, the recyclers, the silent custodians that keep entire ecosystems functioning. And perhaps that is why, long after the vultures disappeared beyond the ridges and out of sight, I found myself still looking up at the sky. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Nature Chronicles with Samir. Until next time, keep watching, keep wondering, and keep protecting the wild places that continue to surprise us when we least expect it.